Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first into of wisdom, which is trying to make the world syllabus mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine medical sciences, divinity on the whole back to the earth after generations and generations of gap. This is a new awakening, in my opinion, of Satya Yuga, our era of truth once again. But let me tell you one thing is for certain, which I've learned from since my childhood till today. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is predestined and things move on that. If the people are not moving in the direction, that means they are lazy, not working as such. Karma Yoga is important. Second thing, Gyan Yoga is important. Third, even Bhakti Yoga is important. Fourth, in self-realization, Siddha Yoga is important. Fifth, which I talk about, Akhand Yoga is important. Only when you're in tune with all the four or five and maybe more the forms of union with the divine consciousness, more and more you're going to evolve. As a result, what you have done by yourself or some other soul has done on the earth, which means what divine consciousness will reveal to you as we move on. And all of us who come to meet each other on the way have been a part and parcel of older generations. Nothing happens by accident. But only the question is some people move on to higher and higher, some people remain there as such. Now, from that experience from myself, from in the last 70 odd years of my life, is if you are evolving, then you have to be knowledgeable. You got to ask questions, you got to answer questions, and you got to move on to share the knowledge for the love of it, not for money, not for name, not for fame, not for anything else. And this is the two things which I learned when I was a child in Katra. कि सरस्वती के भंडार में बड़ी अपूर्व बात ज्यों ज्यों खर्चे त्यों त्यों बढ़े बिन खर्चे घटियात. More and more you spend and spare the knowledge, share the knowledge with the world. Do things when you're asked something. Take it as a golden opportunity. It is there for you to improve because you learn to give, and give, not get, and forget. If you're the person who is a truthful, honest, non-violent, loving, caring, etc., that person only knows to give, does not want anything. That is what Gita is talking about. Karmanye vadhikare mafureshu kadachana. And do sell things selflessly, and then you will rise, rise, and rise. And that nobody can stop you becoming the best in the world, which I see every day. Every person is making me rise. And this particular symbol is a fresh one, which is done only yesterday. One friend of mine asked me to make a logo for their company and asked a person to make some design which comes to person, made some picture and gave it to me, and very moment I saw the picture, I saw only goddess Durga's eyes. I did not see anything other than that, and I made it very clear. Then, based on the information given about the name and other thing, I designed this logo as a logo for the person and sent it. But surprising, this logo was not used by the person as a logo for the company they are starting and made it very clear I've been asked not to use it. I take it. It is a question. Divinity wanted me to use this for this particular video, not for that person. And it's coincident I'm putting this particular picture and with association with Akash Ganga. And I have written for the first time Descent and Ascent of Immortality with Akash Ganga. I'm sure nobody would have ever thought you have this symbol, you have Akash Ganga, and you're going to descent, you're going to ascent, and you're going to immortality. They're totally unconnected connections. But now there comes a question. Is it a mystery? Is it a divine plan? Or is it unfolding of higher and higher levels of universal consciousness? That is going to the center. Maybe for the first time, somebody is going to see how we human beings are used by divinity to give the world the wisdom which is required at the right time. Let me make one thing very clear. I'm not standing on judgment. This yoga, we have come to stage of equipments which are highly sophisticated. We can do wonders what we have done during Veda, Upanishads and Puranic period. We lost the gap in between. But our science has developed to this level that we can now once again go back to Vedas, Upanishads and Puranic stories and show the world what kind of science was there and where we have lost the science, why we are like copycat people who are just working on what is given, doing research only on the subject have done. Nobody is doing the original research, but I'm glad since my childhood, what I have been doing is totally original, not copy of somebody else, and it is a result of the work done in my earlier lives. Reincarnation is perfect, but you start only when you're born from Sahasrara Chakra. Antaratma comes from there and leaves from there, you will remember it. If it is not from Sahasrara to the body and body to Sahasrara, even reincarnation will not let you remember the past at all. So I'm trying to now show how we can actually do wonders which were done thousand and thousand years back. We can rebring and show the world in this. Now, as I move, you will see so many things in this particular symbol. You escape it, and then let me explain step by step what it is all about. Now, my mission, as I've always been saying, is the impeccable wisdom, perfect knowledge, integrated knowledge, flawless wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. I am very clear. I write only those things which nobody can find fault with. And my greatest discovery is Deviant, the divine design of nature, which is written down and it was revealed, recognized, conceived, and revealed only in 2015. Before that, nobody had ever recognized. And the credit for that, I'm not giving to me or anybody else because that the time has come that we can think, analyze, and find the impeccable system because we come to that kind of modern science. But equipments are fantastic. But mathematics is man-made, defective. Physics has got a lot of defects. Chemistry has defects. So have medical subjects. In the light of that, now I'm trying to analyze and give with the divine mathematics of Divyank, rewrite physics, chemistry, medical sciences, all the subjects, and show the world we can now write a uniform syllabus for the entire world, for every student, every scholar, every publisher, which is uniformity throughout for the world peace. And that is what Akhand Vidyashram stands for. I'm very clear, I'm doing it, but I do know for someone to people to realize this is the answer to all our questions is found in these videos, my books, my core answers, will be known as we move on. Everything takes time. Now comes the question very clearly. Is there any mystery? And of late I've been talking of only mystery. And my comprehension is very clear. There is no mystery in the divine nature. Because nature is the perfect, doing everything perfectly. If we are not able to explain the mystery, that means it's our failure. That means we do not understand the concept at all clearly. When we don't know the truth, we don't know the divine mathematics, we don't know physics, chemistry, other things, then it's very difficult to understand any concept. And in that context, also I've answered the questions on Kailash mountain. Mysteries people have written, why nobody is able to reach. I have explained that. But there is much more that in that. There is much more in Trikuta mountain. There is much more in Amarnath. And there is much more you are going to see in this particular thing, Akash Ganga itself. Now, all the concepts are spiritual science of Volga, but answering questions which have not been answered as such. Now comes the question. As I made clear, Divyank is the only one which can explain each and every aspect of the core, central, static, divine nature. And I'm very clear. I'm dividing universe into two components. Core, the center, which is static, which is uniform. That can be explained Divyang, which is a perfect model in structure, anatomy, physiology, psychology, everywhere. But then there is also floating, fluctuating, fleeting nature which is not following Divyang. Because as you expand, core will be saying, but you expand, you take different dimensions, like energy. Satchit Anand is one. But when you come take it to 5 parts or 10 parts, you're going to see certain changes. So let's forget that we are not going to concentrate on. We concentrate the model. Once we know the model, then physiology, everything becomes uniform. And when uniform, only then we can make ourselves perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. So Divyank is going to make at my 73 plus. All my biophysical parameters are as good as when I was 21. I am much better today than I would have been ever time in the earlier full complete life of mine. As you grow old, you fall, but I am improving day by day. Reverse the aging, and my biophysical parameters, biochemistry, psychology is as good as a dynamic young 21 years college student. Now, the question comes, what does Akash Ganga consist of? Big question. Akash Ganga, we know it came, but what does it contain? What it has and what it is means is much more than what people have spoken about it. In that context, let's find out what is enlightening, impeccable wisdom we get from Akash Ganga itself. Today's focus is Akash Ganga. Now, to understand Akash Ganga, I do believe that we need to understand divine chemistry first. If you are learning about divine chemistry first, the one thing which comes to my mind as a scientist is periodic table, as you can see down. But in this particular periodic table, you see the red color on the left side, up top to bottom. How many periods are there? There are 7 periods. But if you see on top, groups, you see only 18 groups. You do not see any other number. Why 7 and 18 are important? What role do they play? What they can teach me or teach us to be perfectly healthy, wealthy, perfect human being who's in love with everybody and does everything for world peace. Truthfully, non violently, conscientiously, just for the love of it. Not for anything other than just money comes, money goes. You are dead without money. But less money is not a curse. But use the money effectively to spread the education which is important. For me, Saraswati is my divine mother. She is the goddess of knowledge. She gave me all the knowledge. When I go after her, Saraswati automatically comes to me. So I don't have to worry about money when I am with Saraswati. This is also a concept which I learnt as a child from a childhood itself. Go after Saraswati, Lakshmi will come. Don't go to Lakshmi, you will never get Saraswati. That is one reason why I had never left India, because India is a land of Saraswati, where the world is a land of Lakshmi. That's a difference. Now the question is, let's understand number 7. I have given a lot of videos shown why 7 is the prime number. That's it. Every perfect object of divine nature is made of 7 parts subconsciously. If you take I'm going to show you this. Now, this particular picture you are seeing Earth is made of 7 parts. Atal to Patal. That's one part. Now, in this particular picture, I've shown the human body is made of 3 components. From soul to the pelvic, one region, pelvic to the head, another region, and then another 7 on top of it. And similarly, those 21 parts are the part of the solar system which Upanishad talk about. The solar system can be checked in 21 steps. To go beyond, you need 22nd step. And this is Brahma Ank all about. So I have shown each is made of 7 parts. Now let us see same thing in a cell. Cell under a compound microscope, we see only 3 parts. But under electron microscope, we can see 21 parts. Each one is made of 7 parts. But when new cell is formed, it is centrosome which becomes double and 21 become 22. I have already explained. This is the first stage of evolution, 22 by 21, which I call Brahma or Lord of Creation. Now, can you believe this particular picture was designed by me 50 years ago, mind you, 1974, and this picture was totally new, is led by my Antaratma, my soul, divine soul to do it. And I make it one thing very clear. I do not copy anybody else. Whatever question comes, whatever comes from my inside, I do it as if I be led by my Antaratma. So me and my Antaratma, even part of from my childhood itself. So I make it one thing very clear. I'm born with Antaratma active, me and Antaratma one. So as a result, I'm born Siddha. All the answers, question is there, and I have all the answers immediately ready. I don't have to think and talk because Atma knows all the answers because it's seen the world as such. It's a part and parcel of that. And this has changed, and now in 50 years later, Mandukya Upanishad is based on that. Pi is based on that. Brahma is based on that. All things graphically given because Bharat believes that every science is made of a graph. So all the gods and goddesses of Bharat, Akhand Bharat, are gods, and each picture has so much of wisdom in it. So if you look at this as a design, as such, is pleasing, agree. But if you go into it, the wisdom it has got is phenomenal. That's what I'm trying to say. If you are in tune with universal consciousness, all the things are graphically beautifully designed. There is nothing called Nirankar, Nirgun, Brahman, which is formless, omnipotent, omniscient. There's nothing called formless. Everything has a form. Even energy has a form. Everything has a structure. And once you are in tune with you, you'll see the structure. Nothing is there. You're going to see how it manifests. Manifestation can be understood only when you are fully knowledgeable. This is the point which I'm making it very clear. If you want to evolve to the universal consciousness as a spiritual scientist, you got to be very knowledgeable person, highly educated, with impeccable wisdom, enlightening and everything, which you cannot find fault at all. Not the copycat what is available. That's it. Now, next go to the next stage. 18. 7 parts have been, now 18 parts. And that represents Adi Prashakti. Adi Prashakti means the first wisdom, and I relate it with organ 40. And the examples are chloride ions and potassium ions. How they are, I'll explain as we move on. But 18 is a number which is divined by universal consciousness, which is going to take important part in spiritual evolution as well as chemistry. In this particular picture, which I'm sure is very, very old, it's a picture from Akhand Bharat, but they have 18 arms, 9 and 9 on each side. And they represent so-called organ 40, or you can organ 36. So bringing it to thing. If you take Antaratma, it is helium 4. If you say solar system Atma, it is Goddess Gayatri and it is neon 21. But if you're taking a universal consciousness beyond the Brahman, it is argon 40, which is maintain 18 electrons and 22 neutrons. Put it that. Now the question is, now we'll start understanding few concepts and the periodic step by step. As far as I'm concerned, Sun God, who is the presiding deity of our solar system, is our teacher. This is what Upanishad talk about it. The greatest teacher of every human being is sun, sun, and sun. So called Aditya is the teacher. That is first concept. When it comes to the teacher number concept, I come down to hydrogen atom and bomb as Aditya. And that's the picture you are seeing that. And every other atom on the earth has come from the union of hydrogen with others or itself to produce new things. You're going to see that in chemistry now. Now this is sun, and you see the proton-proton reaction where four atoms of hydrogen are uniting together to put helium. And helium becomes my Antaratma, daughter of Aditya as a Aditi, and that is the human soul as such. I'm going to show as a number two part of periodic table. First top left on the 7 is hydrogen and the right side is helium. And this is helium 4, which is indwelling soul. And these are the two things which will let us understand the perfect human anatomy. How does it work? Only person who understands anatomy completely, physiology, biochemistry, psychology, would be wiser only if he is in tune with Antaratma, not with anything externalized. Because Antaratma has come from Surya, is the knowledgeable, he's the teacher. So she is the daughter of that, and I would not feel bad in saying, when I see goddess Aditi, I see only Saraswati in her. She is the one who's giving me all the knowledge. So Saraswati, goddess, Aditi, in my opinion, are one alone. That's it. Let's move on to third atom, which is very, very important, and that is carbon. Hydrogen, helium, second periodic table, it is a carbon which is sixth thing. And I associate with Lord Shiva. Why do I associate with Lord Shiva? Because Lord Shiva is known for white bhuti on the head, which is nothing but burnt carbon from cremation ground or burnt carbon as such. And that is the starting of the organic chemistry also. And down you can see benzene ring by Kakule. He saw in dream had changed the complete chemistry once again. You can see 6 carbon with 6 hydrogens. And that's it. And this ring has changed the organic chemistry completely. And I associate carbon 6 with 6 hydrogens, by and large the foundation of that. But if you take a universal consciousness, I would say CH4. Methane is the one which was stirred fuel with the power of 10 we started with. We are going to see that. And then water is also 10 and carbon dioxide is 22. You are going to see this, how the organic chemistry is structurally based on divine mathematics, which I am talking about Divyank alone. Now come to the question of the fourth element, which is very important, is oxygen. And oxygen, I call it fire element or Agni Aditi. I associate with that goddess Durga or Mata Vaishno Devi. Now, first Aditya, sun. Second, Aditi, Divine Mother. Third, Shiva as a carbon. Fourth, goddess Durga or Mata Vaishno Devi, Agni element as oxygen. For oxygen, without oxygen, no fire can ever burn. There are three sides to this triangle. Fuel down could be just methane, it could be ethane, it could be carbon in any form. Other is oxygen. Third thing which is important is the temperature ignition, which is important. Even having oxygen fuel, it will not burn. You need something to burn it. And that is ignition, third component I have also explained. Only then you will have a perfectly wise scientist. Otherwise, no way. When come to the question of fifth in the line, it is a nitrogen. And nitrogen is formed with the union of carbon plus hydrogen alone. I made in the beginning. It is hydrogen which leads to the unions. So helium is from hydrogen, carbon is from hydrogen, and so is the nitrogen from hydrogen. This is a combination which it works. Now, nitrogen. Mother Earth has 78% nitrogen. It is formed from fusion of carbon and hydrogen only, and every scientist would agree with that. Second thing is a building block of amino acids and protein is nitrogen required. If carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are required for carbohydrates, glucose, but from glucose to fat, you need only those three things: hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. But when comes to the question of going to the protein, amino acids, you need nitrogen, which is fifth element, which is very, very important. And that has got seven protons. And its presence is in ammonia. When you look at ammonia, NH3, you have the power of 10 again. Surprising? No, because everything is made of 10 parts. Methane has got 10, water has got 10, ammonia has got 10. That's it. Is it a mystery or divine science? No, divine is same thing, uniform. Only when you don't understand, you have a problem with understanding divinity as such. It is our ignorance, lethargy, tamasic nature that we are not interested. The person who is interested in learning impeccable wisdom would lead to impeccable wisdom, because the soul, everybody is trying to help us. All the divinities are trying to help us. But unfortunately, unless until we start working, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Siddha Yoga, Akhand Yoga, and of course devotion, things will not happen. And that is what Akhand Yoga is all about. It is not a mystery, it is a pure science itself. Now comes the question of sixth element, which is very, very important, is phosphorus. We have talked about hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. Now comes the phosphorus. And of course, we also have talked about helium. But when it comes to the phosphorus, it is as good as being nitrogen. Why? Nitrogen is formed from carbon plus this. But carbon's counterpart in the next periodic table is selenium. And plus hydrogen will give you 15, which is phosphorus. That's it. Now we have five elements which are very important: hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. With this, you find we are producing energy molecules like adenosine monophosphate, adenosine diphosphate, adenosine triphosphate, and also double helix too. Now you come to the genetic structure, how it is formed to go further. But here also calcium 20 can form calcium phosphate, and all these follow Divyank rule only, not anything else. The divinity is very, very specific, teaching us the divine mathematics step by step. Now the question, I'm showing the three molecules are AMP, ADP and AMP. You can see leisurely. There is a divine mathematics centered around Divyak in this again. Now question of DNA, it is a design with Divyank, is a perfect model. Width is 21 angstrom, this is 34, 10.3, and many more mysteries which no one in the world has ever dreamt of, including nucleic acids in the center. They have the number of protons specific. That shows how consistent, uniform, when it's a perfect model. And I'm not talking about disease model. Perfect model is designed with Divyank alone. Now I have this picture. You can read it leisurely when you have time for study. I have spoken about this in other things also. Now the question of number 7 product is in neon 21. We started with hydrogen, then helium, then carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. Now neon 21 is the one which is number second periodic table, last part. And this is again a divine consciousness like Aditi. And solar system is designed from it. It has got 10 electrons, 10 protons, and I would say 11 neutrons. When I say 11 neutrons, that means because 10 plus 10 plus 11 is equal to 31 divided by 3 is a power of 10.3. 3, 4. What I'm talking about, the power on top of 22 by 21. And is significant in creating the universe, how Neon 21 collided to form Neon 22, went through 10 stages, an entire universe is designed, and Divyank is with that. But within the physical body, you can feel the experience when descent of Neon or Gayatri comes to you, you can feel that you are producing sodium ions which are 11 electrons, they become sodium 10, which is as good as neon. Same calcium becomes chloride, chloride 17 becomes chloride 18 ion is like the next, which I call Adi Prashakti or argon. And 19 also becomes potassium 18, and you can see right at this particular juncture I've shown picture. Atom is with the same number of electrons and protons. But when it comes to ionic form, one is increased or reduced. So in case of sodium, one is reduced to make it 10. In case of chloride, it becomes 18. Then 19, it's reduced, become 18. So that you are clear to the same. Once you are able to be stable within yourselves, that means the concentration sodium, chloride, and potassium. Sodium and chloride outside the body, outside the cells, and potassium inside cell should be in this particular issue. And I can tell you, sodium potassium ATP pump also works with the same principle as Deviank. If it is concentration is that, you'll have no problem whatsoever. That is the kind of knowledge which I'm talking through my videos, my books, my answers, my books completely. Now they come to the question of core design. So now we have come to, I'm going to talking about the design, core design of divine nature, which is important, how life started. I talked about atoms, elements. Now we want to talk about molecules, four molecules. Oxygen is also molecule, but atom is made of 8 protons. That's very important part. Water is for 10 protons, methane is 10 proton, and carbon dioxide 22 proton. 22 proton means carbon dioxide is the beginning of Divyang itself. 22 by 21. Neon 21 I'm talking about. Then I'm talking about 10 stage of development. Then I'm talking about Shiva. We will come to that later. Is there divine presence in these concepts? Definitely. Let's explore and find divine drama, how it works in life within the physical body and the universe as such. Now let's take Genesis Akash Ganga, water, our solution in the universe. The first divine molecule which plays very important role is methane. I'm now coming back to methane. Carbon 1, which has got 6 electrons, and 4 hydrogen, 4 electrons. There are 10 protons and 10 electrons. That means the first thing which is important is methane. And how methane find methyl alcohol, which is poisonous. Let's not go to ethane and ethyl alcohol, because all these alcohols by and large are not the one I would like anybody to drink in life. Anything which can reduce your sensitivity, sensory system, is going to give you problem. So no medicine required which will block your sensory system, because you need a sensory system as powerful to be with the entire universe. Your hearing should be perfect, eyes should be perfect, and things like that. So the next component in that is the Agni fire element, which has 8 protons. Now methane and Agni or oxygen, they are going to play important role in creating the universe meant for divine consciousness, Akash Ganga as such, with which the whole world is what we are today. So Akash Ganga brought everything, we'll talk about it. Now comes the question of synthesis of Akash Ganga solution. Right on top you can see methane plus oxygen, 1 of methane, 2 of oxygen, producing carbon dioxide molecule plus 2 molecules of water. This I'm taking only from science. I'm a scientist icon. I do not want to depend on philosophy, psychology, anything which is not conclusive mathematical with divine mathematics. Because conclusion is important for us to understand. So this is a picture which is all the scientists of the world know very well, has been proven over and over to be absolutely truth. So what is impeccable wisdom in this? Methane, you see the top, gave birth to carbon dioxide, the second part. As far as oxygen is concerned, gave birth to water. So methane plus took the hydrogen out, carbon plus oxygen got together became carbon dioxide. Then similarly, oxygen added itself to the hydrogen element and produced water element. It's a divine nature. And same thing I see in plant kingdom. It is a water which gives rise to oxygen. It is a carbon dioxide which produces glucose. Now I want that kind of science only. Interconnected, least but perfect. And share that with the world. Let's not share too much of knowledge which is not at all connected. Let's first make the foundation very clear, short and sweet, with divine mathematics, Divyak, and done with it. Now, as a result of this particular reaction in the universe to start with, you have four inner planets between Sun and asteroid belt, and all the four of them have 97% carbon dioxide to start with. This is a reaction which you can see. Now, I'm going to show the picture of that. Now, these all gods and goddesses descended one by one there. But if you're looking at four planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, as well as Mars, had, but three of them continue to have yellow orange color of carbon dioxide. But in Earth element, because the plant kingdom, carbon dioxide was used to produce glucose and convert water into oxygen as such. That's it. Now, when all these things are represented in the Veda, Rig Veda, as gods and goddesses, nothing but different atoms, elements, and other things. But when it comes to the Indra, king of God, he is the water and rain god. He brought everything down as such to start with, is one way of showing that's a legend. It's Indra who brought it down. But later, about Ganga, why it was, we will talk as we come to that stage. To start with, it is Indra, who is a king, which is water and rain god. And that started the biological life in the warm waters of the ocean. And that from so-called spores, asexual reproduction to sexual reproduction to photosynthesis to conversion of carbon dioxide into glucose and water into oxygen. And today we have 21% oxygen in the atmosphere instead of 97%. And as far as other 78%, it is nitrogen, which is oxygen, but is hydrogen plus carbon as such. That is with the new elements of Sagar Manthan would arise. Now you look at it. Sagar Manthan is the one which everything came, these gods and goddesses brought and put into this. When life started, we had two elements within ourselves, good and the bad. When I see gods, I see the good human beings as gods, the bad negative thing as what you can call it Rakshas are Asuras. But this is reality with all of us. They are not outside us. Positive and negative are two sides of every human being. The one which rises is a godly, perfect one. Which does not rise is what Asura or divine or demonic consciousness is all about. And these are the people who churn for what? To get Amrit, the water. That's what I'm shocking about. When I talk of the Amrit, which nobody has defined what exactly Amrit is all about, different people have spoken, but I make it very clear. Amrit is nothing but pure water because it is the one which makes life comfortable. When you remove water from seeds, that will not work. Unless and you give water, life will not be there. The most important molecule, which is universal water, it is water which makes a difference. Everything else is secondary. And this is a part of the original concept as Indra itself, who is a king itself. King itself is only water. Now you see the importance given to king as water and the rain and all the divinity by and large. That is Amrit. Now you have on earth solid matter is 38 point, and water, and there are seven oceans in the ocean, the earth, which I'm talking about. Now, as I told you in the beginning, these are the four planets which had 97% carbon dioxide. It's the earth, you can see blue and green, other three remain. And it is because of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is converted into glucose and water into oxygen, and 21% is the story which I am talking about. Now the question, I'm giving the picture of photosynthesis. And just to show, in this particular picture, you can see it's a science picture. I'm not taking from myself. Water is converted to oxygen in light reaction. And carbon dioxide is converted into sugar, or you say glucose, in the second part. These two things. This just to show how science has helped me to understand, because for world to accept me, I have to give scientific things based on what is perfect. Mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology should be with the evidence which we have the record, which is should not be a matrix or imagination. It should be clearly seen on records. This is where it becomes important. Now the comes you can see the picture in this picture on that. Carbon dioxide 6, water 6 put together with photosynthesis with light of sun is converting glucose plus oxygen. That is why carbon dioxide is converted to glucose and water into oxygen, which is now 21%. Inside the cell, you have cell respiration. And for cell respiration to get energy for the human body, you have glucose plus oxygen is used to produce energy, ATP, etc. And also it gives rise to carbon dioxide and water again. Now look at it. Nature gave carbon dioxide and water to us, and plant converted into glucose and oxygen. We use glucose and oxygen and convert it into carbon, and that shows that both water and carbon dioxide was given by nature, and we are also as human being giving back that to the nature. And as a result, atmosphere maintains the equilibrium which is required. Now the question is, if more carbon dioxide comes up, they're going to be heat. So maintain that we need to plant more trees which can take carbon dioxide and water and convert it to glucose and maintain the atmosphere very well. This is pure science which is good for everybody. That is the kind of science which I'm talking about. Now to consider descent, we are now the question of descent of Akash Ganga as such. I'm not going into details of this particular thing, I've put it together, you can read it. But essence is that King Sagar, who is great grandfather of Bhagirath, the king of Ayodhya, their people were killed by Indra as such and put into Patal Lok in an unconscious state. To bring them back, King was advised to ask goddess Ganga to come down to Mother Earth and revive the unconscious people. But some of the Ganga said, if I come down as such, the world will be destroyed. So please ask Lord Shiva to hold me in the hair pattern, and then release slowly and steadily so that the world does not destroy. And I give the people what they are looking forward. And this is a story which Bhagirath finally succeeds in persuading goddess Akash Ganga to come down. On this condition it comes. And what happens thereafter? Now we are going to talk about that. Now you see the picture of Bhagirath meditating in Mahabalipuram in one of those caves to show how he is meditating to bring Ganga down. Now you see the picture of Lord Shiva with open Parvati on one side, and of course, all the divinities, which could be all, maybe even Agastya, you can call it, all the sages, you can call it. And then you see the Ganga is coming down. This is very, very old picture. But Ganga is a female coming from top down, and descent of Shakti, you can call it. And I give this picture 100 marks because you spoken about descent of Shakti. Ganga is one. Maybe helium is another. But here is a different story. But they all come from universe to us. And why Shiva plays an important role? Why nobody is able to understand Shiva's full consciousness? Because to reach that Shiva's level, you got to understand Brahma first, then Vishnu first, and only in the last you can understand Shiva. And for Shiva, Amarnath is important, Kailash is important, Akash Ganga is important. That's it. You reach only when you come to XYZ level, not at ABC level. That's the most, for nobody in the world could understand Shiva's digital number 0.34419, which was done by me in 2015 only. And reason is it took me almost 60 years to reach that level of consciousness that I can reach to the impeccable wisdom and done. That is what I was talking about. To reinforce yourself also. Things happen step by step, nothing in one shot. Only when it happens step you remember, you keep it, and then go on to explain that step by step with complete impeccable wisdom. Now this is another picture of the same period. You can see Ganga coming down and falling on the head of Lord Shiva, which is sitting, and you can see water from there is falling on both the sides, left as well as right. But at the in the result, you can see Lord Shiva surrounded by shivling itself out of the water alone. And that is what I showed in Amarnath. The shivling is what you can see shivling around Lord Shiva in this particular picture itself. That's all I meant. So now you see how much is there in the picture, which people have not even looked at it. And I'm sure anybody looking at this lower half around Shiva, you can see the shivling which is there in Amarnath very clearly put. And that is shivling you see in everywhere. But there's so much a divinity in the Shiva that you have 11 by 7 on top of it, 11 by 7 under this, and that is 22 by 7 is the pi which Om is also talking about. See now, see the mathematics there. And that is what I meant. Now, I'm telling you, I had my initiation to simplified Kundalini Yoga on 1st January 1991. After 1.5 years, I was asked to show children how to design picture with the pencil ex tempo. And this was the picture I made in 92. And the picture which came to my mind is Shiv and Shakti or Shakta and Shakti. But what this picture has taught me today, this is 32 years old picture, is taught me that Shakti is 61.8034% and Shakta is 38 point, and that light which came from the head is shown on the west side, not on the right side. That means there is something hidden in this, and that is what Sindhu is all about. Now I'm going to show what Sindhu, and of course Ganga. Where did Ganga come from? Where did Sindhu come from? Where other things come? We are going to see that step by step, because only then we'll understand the universal design as such. Now you see in this particular picture, you have Kailash in Tibet, and there you have two lakes, Rakshas and Mansarovar, and the river which comes from Kailash is Sindhu, which goes to the north, then comes to Ladakh, then moves to the west and goes into Asian Arabic Sea. So Kailash to the north, to the west, to the south, to Arabian Sea is one lot, which is that in the picture which I have shown you, which I have drawn in 92. That is exactly what it is. So that particular part comes from the head down to bring western boundary of India. And the one which goes on the right side is Himalaya, or another river from there which goes to the west by and large. Brahm Sut. But in this picture, I have shown Ganga coming down, not on the head. It's not coming from Sahasrara Chakra. So Ganga has come to Sahasrara Chakra and part gone to the left side as Sindhu. But you see, Ganga has come from the throat chakra, Vishuddhi Chakra of Lord Shiva. And that is where water came for purification of those people, which today is used as immortal soul. Even today it's said Ganga water. Anyone who's dead and buried can be put into Ganga water, and then the person would live, go stay to heaven and the bone will dissolve automatically. It is what it is all about. So now you see, ancient belief of Indians, Brahmins particularly, who were in tune with universal consciousness, is falling into right place step by step, one by one. Now let's go to another concept which I talked about, Kailash Mountain. There are two natural lanes over there. The left side is low Rakshas lane, which is of solution of saline water and all the elements of nature by and large over there. But right side you have Man Sarovar, which is pure water at high level, which gives the life as such. Now, from that point of view, let's go to the next stage. And this I'm going to show in this particular picture. You can see of gods and goddesses doing churning. You have on the left side Rakshas, like the lane, and see gods on the right side at that part. And you can see the water coming on top of that. This is the story of, again, by and large, a descent of Shakti and moved on one by. Now, let me tell you one thing. I started with the company of elements too important. Now, when came to my dialogue on Kailash Mountain, and it is said, mystery is nobody can go there, nobody can reach there, nobody ever reached into Lord Shiva. And now I have explained that also, because you have Nirankar Nirgun Brahman there. Shiv and Shakti, as such, you have shown the picture of 92, is there. And that could reach only when you reach a very high level within the physical body. As I told you, basic element in the human body is hydrogen. Hydrogen along with the carbon and oxygen is formed into basic elements, and helium is antaratma and neon is thereafter from that point of view. To understand how these atoms, elements, molecules, compounds within us give you the power to be with the universal consciousness. Now in this particular picture of Sagar Manthan, when I'm talking about iodine, is what is spoken about Neelkant of Lord Shiva, and I associate that is the 53rd atom called iodine, which has got 53 electrons. But unless until these 53 electrons become 54 ions, and they represent xenon, are 54, and that is Nirankar Nirgun Brahman. Anyone who can be in tune with iodine perfectly is a balance, can experience the movement within the throat, I can tell you, has the capacity to see Nirankar, Nirgun Brahman as it is. He can go to Kailash mountain through astral travel. That was, I spoke about it. That is possible only when you have a perfect iodine content within your body, you have a perfect thyroid hormone, you have the kind of heat which is required, which I also made it very clear. Thyroid hormone is not it's not calorigenic, diabetogenic, it is thermogenic. Its objective is only to produce heat, to maintain the body temperature perfectly. Only Shiva can do it, because as a result he can be in that, because he is full of energy of iodine, thyroid hormone, and he is able to produce using thyroid hormone and triglyceride and breakdown of protein product to heat in mitochondria, not ATP, the energy molecules I spoke about. That is why he is able to do. Anyone who is perfect in thyroid is able to express beautifully, has no problem at all in throat chakra, Vishuddhi chakra, is perfectly and enough energy, is not suffering from cold or not suffering from heat, is perfect, has that fifth level of Nirankar Nirgun Brahman. He is the only person who can go to Kailash and experience the beauty through astral travel itself. So now I have made it very clear in this. All the things which came from top down to earth were a part of Akash Ganga. It is not only water, it is something much more than that. Water is also important because it is gives you how to be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise thereafter. So, having explained that, I think we have come to a very important stage that Sagar brought down divine chemistry from top as such. And divine chemistry, we can understand, we can evolve thereafter. Now, you come back to the first picture. I have shown you, you see on top is coming down as well as going up. There is involution, there is revolution, there is evolution. That's a beautiful picture. And you need to do that only when your eyes can see through Tratakam, Trikuta as such on top, and that's it. So this Trikuta concentration, the contemplation of Trikuti, which is with Tratakam, keep the eyes together and focus on that and activate the higher chakras and be in tune with universal consciousness. A third eye is Shiva. Only then you can be on higher. And now you see the science has explained all that step by step important. So what is designed to speak something else? What is finally come to is the impeccable wisdom which is acceptable to anyone who is an analytic mind, math, physics, chemistry, and biology. Now come to the third part, the last step. You can see three Ida, Pingla, and Sushma Nadi. You can see Muladhara Chakra, Swadhisthana Chakra, Nabhi Chakra, Usha Chakra, Anhata Chakra, Vishuddhi Chakra, Ajna Chakra, Vigyan Chakra, Pragyan Chakra, and Sahasra Chakra. You can see Brahma Granthi, you can see Brahmanadi, you can see Vaikuntha, you can see Atma within that, and how from inside you are able to see. Now, in that perception, you can easily understand that Shiv Bhushan Sharma is able to produce 8 hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain with eyes open because he has all the 10 steps he understands. And this is all is shown in this particular picture. You have come to the stage as such. But someone who really wants to understand the complete importance of water, I have already written a video on this. You can go back and see why water is impeccable wisdom of universal divine design, why everything is designed around that. When something has to be made into seed, it is water which is taken out. But to make the seed into sprout and go to life, you need water. And that is what I'm talking about. Sagar starts with that chemistry and water and purification, immortality. I think everything is connected with water alone. And I think that's more than enough for the time being. I think it's been fairly interesting. Videos are taking the kind of shapes which will make you think rationally to understand the ancient Indian wisdom of spiritual science can only make the modern mathematics into divine mathematics, physics, chemistry with the divine mathematics, and also medical science with Divya, that impeccable wisdom, uniform, without any doubts. Let's have that first, and that is the objective is all about. So, thank you very much. It has been lovely explaining my experiences in the light one by one. Thank you.